Welcome to this week's edition of The Real Deal. Now this time last week, I had a very brown face. I was brown all over. I just had my undercoat done ahead of my full spray tan, ahead of a fitness competition for Miss Fitness Australia, which I entered into last Saturday. So I wasn't doing any open homes last Saturday. Gabs was doing them on my behalf, and I was standing on stage and posing for this fitness competition. How did I go? Not as well as I would have liked, but I did get a bronze medal, which was great. I was up against a girl who was a lot younger than me, but I was very pleased with the fact that I'd followed a process and stuck to it. And I think that was what I was most proud of. I think sometimes just getting up there in itself is almost a win, and it's all about process, and the journey, and not the destination. It may sound a little bit like a cliche, but it's much the same when you're doing anything, and particularly when you're selling a house. Now, when we go to a listing presentation, if you call me in, you'll see that I'm very process driven. I'll pull out all my information, I'll go through a plan and a process, and I'm very structured. There's a place for everything. And the reason I do that is I am a very creative soul naturally, but I do need structure in order to achieve the ultimate results. Now, you can't go into anything haphazardly. Well, we'll just get a few people round and see no. You've got to do it properly. You've really got to start with the endpoints in mind. This is what we want to achieve, and then we actually work backwards, okay? And that's pretty much what you do in a fitness journey. So you start out with, well, this is what we want to look like. In order to get to that point, we've got to start many months out. You'd never start prepping for a fitness competition 2 months out. You would not look ready on stage. As it was, I was just probably 4 weeks away from looking much better. My leanness didn't quite come in where I wanted it to, but I started probably not in the best space. Pretty much during the lockdown, couldn't get to gyms, it was much harder to exercise. Motivation wasn't at an all-time high at all, and I also started probably 5 kilos heavier than I really would have liked to have been or should have been. So I had a much more difficult job to do to get myself down to stage ready. It's a little bit like that with a property. If a property is really run down, looks terrible, needs retaining walls, needs lawns to be mowed, it's out of shape, well, it's going to take a lot longer to get that property in shape and looking right for its presentation day, its first open home. A little bit of an analogy, but I think you know exactly where I'm going. Now, the best results are achieved through absolute precision and through being really micromanaged. So I went to see a couple that I know fairly well about 3 weeks ago. I sat down around the dining room table. I was actually there for 3 hours. It was crazy. We went through the entire house. The wife wanted to spend a lot of money doing a lot of things that she would never have got the money back on. I begged her not to. The husband was thrilled. He said, oh, this is great. You can come around anytime you like. And we went through everything that needed to be done. I gave them a list of everything I wanted, a pool certificate, a pest and building inspection, what I wanted painted, what I wanted replaced, the plants I wanted planted where I wanted them. We did this massive overhaul pretty much of the property. We had a partial style job done. Everything I told them to do, they did. And we just got an outstanding result within almost hours, really, unheard of. And that was all because they did everything they were told to do, all right? Followed military precision. And when we launched it, we got the result that we were after. Even the photos, we took a few days longer because we really wanted them to be amazing. The video took a little bit longer. The virtual tour went into more detail. We had probably an extra week or two normal, probably more than we normally schedule. And as a result, the result was outstanding. So it was really a combined effort. Now, some people might look at that and go, wow, that was so quick. But it was all the things that we did behind the scenes, you know, that got us to that point. There was so much work that you never saw. The same with when I'm prepping for a fitness show. You don't see the hours and hours I spend on a treadmill. You don't see me doing my 12,000 steps pacing up and down on Cleveland Road outside the office while I'm on the phone. You don't see me straining and groaning and pushing myself and doing that extra rep that I don't want to do. You don't see me having to say no to grilled burgers, even though they're healthy. You don't see the things that I have to say no to get the result that I want to achieve. So it's a little bit like that. So I just want to say want to get a great result doing anything in life, and particularly when selling a house, it needs to be done with the right process in mind to get the desired outcome.